let's get our thinking caps on, everybody. Okay, Council. Okay, Inquisitor. And we gotta come up with something for the beginning of the show to make Frater happy, you know? Let's go. What you got for us, Council?
Well, how about this proposal, Mr. Peck? We sat long and hard on this one.
Okay, let me see that piece of paper there, guys. Let's see it. Check it out. Nah. See, the problem is this was already done by The Simpsons. See, you're gonna have to really take long and hard to get one over Frater SH like this. I'm so sorry, guys. This was done by The Simpsons in the first season. Um, so but Council, it was nice talking to you. When we had the break there before we turned on the camera, that was really nice. Yeah, we had a nice conversation.
Yes, we started off as young actors struggling to make a buck. We then worked in paranormal radio with a shithead who no idea where he wanted to take his show. Then we went solo only to get our show cancelled. Now we are the best.
Yeah, that's a very interesting story. Funny. It sounds like somebody I know, actually. Somebody, I don't know. I don't know. My memory's not very clear right now. Paranormal radio, huh? Small world, Frater, Frater had his show, and uh, well, hopefully the whole acting gig helps through because you don't got any viewers. Well, I wouldn't put this on your resume. You know, I would just use it as more of like an experiment to exercise your voice acting like we do. That's right. Just a really good exercise. I'll tell you a little stuff about myself. I know like a lot of people go, "Oh, you're Gregory Peck. You killed a whale. You were in movies. You're mocking to mock a mock a bird, mock." You don't even saying it right. To kill a mockingbird. The guns of Navarro. The guns of Navarro. Actually, no. Sorry, folks. I'm not the real Mr. Gregory Peck. That's why a lot of times I'm just called Mr. Peck nowadays. In the early days of the show, I used to be called Gregory Peck, but that was meant to be just a parody. We even categorize our show not so much as a gaming show, but a parody and a comedy. It's not really meant to be serious. Of course, I don't sound like Mr. Gregory Peck. It's just after a while, Frater was kind of going, you just call yourself Mr. Pack for now, because we've really strayed far from making you, we don't even have you say it up to our necks anymore. I remember Greg Pack always used to say that in his movies, and goes the guns and arrow. You say we're having up our necks. I can't even like remotely do that. It's just an old man voice, really. Yeah. No, but Inquisitor, we forgot you. We should talk about yourself a bit.
Well, I worked at a Ford factory most of my life back in Michigan in the 70s. And, the 50s, of course. I was only well retired by. Oh, actually, wait, let's look at my timeline here. Let me get this paper out here. Doc Manny kind of made this for me. He's like, you need to become more of a character. So, um, yeah, I would have worked in, the 20s and 30s of the highest time of auto manufacturing and steel factories. Of course, everyone knows I'm well 100 years old. I was 100 years old when, I first picked up the Atari 2600. But I think I'm saying the right name. It's not like it's funny. It's kind of like I hadn't had that Atari on my mind in probably years or something. No, but no, a DeLorean came out of nowhere back in 1970.
was it 77 or 78 when I just had a couple weeks playing the brand new Atari 2600 or some games like Combat and stuff. And Gus Guster used to come over and we'd play Combat. All right, you want to do something? He's like, TV is really boring. What's this thing about a video game? I'm like, you don't know what you're looking. You need to play this or Derby. We'll play Derby. And he's like, this is fun, but man, I can't beat you. Uh, uh, World's oldest gamer. I was the world's oldest gamer in the 70s. It was really wild stuff. Uh, but then, a DeLorean from the future came. This man known as Doc Matty. He claimed, uh, he claimed something about something called an Xbox and all this stuff. I don't know what he's talking about. And yeah, he had me get in his DeLorean and he took me to the year 2023. And I've been here ever since. And he says you're going to be called the world's oldest gamer. You're one of the greatest Atari players that have ever lived because, well, you were one of the first. Oh, okay. Okay, and that's how it happened. And I got to do two videos. I haven't been commissioned to do any other videos in a long time. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on with Doc Matty these days. Yeah. That's a great story. Time travel is always a thing that brings some views to the channel. Yeah. Well, see, the problem is World's Oldest Gamer is that Frater have essentially come up with a theory that you guys were taken advantage of. That basically this guy was going to make a Metrotrecica style channel, but he needed a couple people to just make some videos because he needed us. He needed us. He needed an established video content maker. And we've been in the game for many years now, and so that we're perfect for him. We're really the real content of the channel. Actually, you should be very lucky, that you're part of our channel. Lately, for this year, you've been very much a part of our channel, but and part of our content and brand, and that should make you very happy. I'm sorry we don't let you play Atari games. It's just those are kind of boring. I mean, we're mostly millennials. We play Nintendo in our life or Sega, and I'm sorry to say we didn't play that type of thing. So, okay, guys, we've come up with nothing. We come up with nothing. But we had some interesting conversations. Frater is kind of weird. He might actually saw this as really good content because he just sees it as making people. He likes to push everyone outside the box, and we were pushed outside of it. Yeah, but I gave him about Doc Manny. Yeah. I'm sorry, old World's Oldest Gamer. I don't know if he's ever gonna let you make a video again. He just did that to show us, like, look, I got all these content creators, and yeah, but you also got a huge gap of time we've had them make a video. I mean, some of these people have only made like maybe one video or two or three videos. Okay, but I guess we can take this back to Frater. I'll take the feedback over to Frater. Okay, I got the feedback over to me. I don't know what that was, but I kind of like the little conversations and stuff. Mr. Peck usually can read me pretty well about what I like and don't like, and yeah, that one idea they had, that was definitely something from The Simpsons. I wouldn't have gone with that. That's very dated. Or what are we, like 1995 or something, or 1991 or something? I mean, come on, guys. Okay, Billy, you know what to do. Yay! Welcome to Frater versus Retro. Frater, what's going on with the show? Like, well, what's going on is we're in a transitional period because what is occurring is that we got to get through this Gothic footage first, and then we can have some fun because then we can open up this Kin Hank, and we can through we're going to record it through OBS. We got to plug through the computer into OBS, and we can do it. We got this Gothic footage, and
So there's no more punishments, right?
well, they need to come up with something a little more funnier. I mean, I just said to them, look, I thought the first two episodes were funny, but what? You're gonna just keep going through a different condiment, a different animal chasing Mr. Peck. Well, we got to get onto the game because I'm really trying to keep things down to 10 minutes because I just don't want to.
You were really childlike, last year.
Yeah, it's kind of like the gimmick the bit kind of passed or something. You never know. But well, I think that was kind of the point when I was getting beat up by the Black Scorpion is that was supposed to like kind of beat that out of me. So I see storyline wise that I'm getting back on track to being who I was. So we'll get going with that game now. The wonderful world of inventory management. Such a great way to start an exciting stream. Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah, you carry that apple over. You carry that rib bone of praise or whatever it's called. Bring it all over. Bring it.
Oh, bring it on over. Bring it on over.
Yeah. We gonna take it all. We're gonna take it all. Oh dear, it's giving me flashbacks to Witcher 2. Ha ha! Have to commentate over that. That was some hell. Oh, I don't know. Some people really like that. They like to commentate. Oh, I bring over the wine. I bring over the green potion. I want it all. I want it all. Can't you got that? Got this, Austin. Oh. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's my ADHD. Maybe I can't appreciate good inventory management. I'm sure there's a guy out there, man. He is riveted. He is so riveted.
Oh, I know. He loves this.
Oh, he does. He does. He loves it. Because like he can't get enough of his inventory management. Reminds me of the days when Brad Simon's 4-player podcast was playing Dragon Age Origins. It was like inventory, stats. I was like, oh man, well he definitely dug that, and oh jeez.
Frater, what are RPGs where the stats aren't so bad?
Well, I mean, the thing you'll be surprised about, the further back you go with RPGs, especially turn-based JRPGs, is there's actually not a lot of inventory management of any kind. Where you start to get inventory management is when you get into like Diablo and stuff, where where room is very limited. And they came up with some pretty good ideas in that, like like you have to actually manage the size of an object and how it fits in your inventory. And the days of like the Ultima games and Dragon Warrior, I mean, there really wasn't. Your inventory was just there. It was like, what character is holding this? Okay, it's a rapier, or a dagger, or a club. What I mean. It's like you're not gonna spend the next 5 minutes. But the problem is when you get into these like open world games, these like once you get into the sort of the 3D sort of open world based games, you start to get into like this massive, like literally every little thing you grab can either have very little effect or very a lot of effect on everything you do, and you're looking at everything like, oh, this gives me a +1, a plus 0.5, this is a plus. I mean, like it gets longer and longer and longer because you're trying to get the most out of things. I remember in Ultima Online, even in the later days, that they started incorporating like that each armor had a certain amount of percentage of a certain thing you can attain, and what you were trying to obtain was 100% either immunity to something or 100% armor rating or defense rating, because then what that means is you don't get damaged pretty much. Like some people, that's why like Spiffing Brit and stuff, they come up with these videos where literally they're breaking games, like showing how you can literally become invincible if you just like grab like 100% and 110% in something or whatever. And those are very entertaining videos, but do understand that those are edited videos. I mean, unless you got a lot of like very autistic people in your audience who want to see every little nook and cranny being moved over, it's very painful, extremely painful to do that. And it just is what it is, it is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is, Gotta do that inventory management, yeah. Oh, yeah. And yeah. I mean, first impressions, it does actually appear, that they, as far as the fall of Sade or whatever, that Chowder, bird chowder, yeah, ball of chowder, a bowl of chowder, that actually they actually tried to make this more like a Gothic game. It wasn't this janky thing, but it actually, well, it does seem to have appearances to be not that bad. It's just you pretty much head towards a volcano type thing. You fight monsters inside and that kind of deal, and you know what I mean. It's that kind of thing, and you know. Yeah, I just want to let you know that Pukapi Adams has got the fire hose outside, and he's getting ready to blast the Vegemite off of Mr. Peck. Well, that's good, I mean, I'm kind of going, guys. I think we might need to actually sit and write some episodes. This is sort of like the good old days, though, isn't it? Yep, totally improvised. I mean, I hate to break fourth wall, but yeah, there are times with the writing, sometimes there isn't any plans. I mean, sometimes there's just no plans. I mean, there was I'm trying to not like reveal like all my projects, and like I try to keep in character most of the time, but a lot of times there are tribute projects where I will like watch like Doctor Who or old Nick at Night, like old retro TV shows, and get ideas, like comedy ideas and also like adventure and sci-fi ideas, and then I just insert my characters into that kind of stuff, and that's usually the way I write that stuff. But with this season, and well, really we're kind of taking, it does seem to be we're taking a break on the writing, because it's just, I think we're gearing up for something very big, but it's like we want to get this stuff out of the way first. So like it's the year of 2026 out of the way, what we're writing and stuff, and we don't want to spend an inordinate amount of time on this. We don't want to. You can't do proper word for what you want to use. I think I'm just trying to talk big here, So I don't know. Uh, you know. So really, what it is that yeah, that basically it's it's about just a lot of times like I'll watch something, I get ideas as far as basic storytelling, but then there are times when I just with these really the past since the beginning of this year with this show has been the focus on just like just um just focusing on like oh oh dear, you trailing off. Are you getting a little bit of a sinus headache or something? Yeah, sometimes that happens. Yeah, well, it's just sometimes what happens is it's just sometimes it is fun to like come up with something on top of your head. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. The new Frater versus Retro was nothing but that. I mean, I would just come up with stuff like that all the time, And I do have. Sometimes I forget about it. Oh dear, I do forget about it. That I do have several pages written out by hand, written in 2024. I know you're going to go, why do you wrote for 2026 that far back? And it's like, yes, yeah. But then what happens is once you're finished with 2025 and, and then you're finally moving on 2026, you have all of a sudden you have some different ideas, and you're kind of going, what? And it's like, yeah. So I think the buildup of this show, as far as what's going to happen is we're building up to getting through the reason why we're doing things the way we're doing, and you're definitely out of fourth wall now. Yeah, you're not even the Frater character. Yeah, well, it's during the game. A lot of times the game doesn't even have commentary most of the time. I sometimes just go, well, 10 minutes is enough or whatever, and I just quit. And then, but I mean, you could hear the game sound and stuff. That the only time I get concerned is if I didn't record the sound loud enough or whatever. Sometimes the sound could be too loud. Trust me. I mean, that's why I had to put it 8% for this game and stuff, because it was one of those games that comes out pretty loud. So really what it is that the aim is to get through this game footage that I got. There was leftover game footage. So this happens on every show that I'm working on. That there's always going to be a game that when I'm cutting the master footage, there's going to be enough to go into the next year. There's always like it happened with RoboCop. That was a different project, and I'm not going to talk about what channels or anything like that, because I'm trying to keep some separation. I know I don't usually go into off character. I usually try to keep in the Frater character, but I'm just trying to explain it almost in a way to explain it to myself, like what is my goals and aims for 2026. And so, as we mentioned, the big part of this year has been the revelation of having the Kinhank, the little Chinese console that you don't hook it to the internet. Linus Tech Tips even told you. He told you don't hook up these Android systems from China to the internet. because you don't want them connecting to your network, because if something happens where suddenly we're, well, kind of at war with China or something, they can turn all our computers into zombies working for them. They could take over everything. But understand it's a little pirate station, so you need to understand that you're there to play the video games. You're not there to watch YouTube. Why are you watching YouTube on that thing? You could do that on your PC or whatever.
The Satarifians?
Do watch on your PC, because you block Origin, you can block ads and download videos and whatever, just don't deal with that. So with the Kin Hank, it would allow us to go much deeper as far as Frater versus Retro. But that is the big issue, is that we kind of not been really playing retro games. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, and it's I kind of admit that it's kind of my way of scolding myself for
perhaps they really help.
not devoting enough time to retro games. I'm sorry to say this game right here, even though you could say, well, it came out, 2011 or 2012 or something like that. I think 2012, probably 2013 or something.
Listen,
and
Milton asked
you could say, well, it's almost 10 years. It's over 10 years old.
To be here in the observatory.
It is.
Yes, it's right there. Take it.
I kind of admit I probably have now a very, very outdated concept of what's retro.
Yes, a while ago.
But mostly it's because I haven't really checked up on retro circles to really see what do people consider to be retro. I consider the Xbox 360 now retro.
No.
But what it is, we do this antique game emporium, and and it's the idea that there's like these old guys out there. It must be in their 60s now. I'm sure they're in their 60s now.
Where do I find?
I mean, I'm 45. I mean, I didn't. You understand, guys? I was way too young to grow up with an Atari. Okay. Now, some people had hand-me-downs, so that's the reason why they had Ataris. I knew 2 people had like Ataris. My one best friend had an Atari, and then another person had an Atari. And so they were out there, Ataris, and I could have had an Atari when I was at least a teenager, because I went to a giant yard sale. There is a local festival they have that also is like a partly 50% of it. The real big feature of it is actually like a yard sale, and people can come there and sell their stuff, and I've gotten old WWF figures, I've gotten really weird random toys, and
I managed to grab onto the edge.
I think I even got an 18 figure. Murdoch figure. Yeah, that's right. It's weird memories coming through. But of course, at the time when I got it, I didn't even really know it was an 18 figure. So, so I'm kind of trailing off. It happens all the time when I talk too much. And so the whole point is, with the Kin Hank, you can play anything. You could play Wii games. I haven't tested the Wii games, how it works with the game controller. The game controller is almost like a PlayStation 4. So it's kind of like they've hit something that I understand, because I generally do feel that if it wasn't for the PS4 controller breaking so much, because trust me, I went through about 3-4 of those. And I'm not talking about being rough on it. I'm actually fairly gentle on controllers. But these things are just built very weak, and, but they have a good, when they do work, they handle really well on your hand. They feel very good. the PlayStation 5 controller is even bigger. And I remember initially when that came out, some people complained about it, and then it's like now people are sort of like cool with it. But I don't know, PlayStation 5 I just didn't get really into. Mainly it's because, like the only game that at the time that was an exclusive for was like Returnal. And that's an excellent game if you wanted almost like a sort of a next gen Metroid. I mean, it's generally really good. It's a roguelike, and I liked it. But do understand that but with the Kid Hank again, that the whole content of the show for this season is that we now have, as long as it doesn't break, then that's when plans go out the window, and let's just say the Antique Game Emporium goes out the window. But then of course there's a greater scheme to the Antique Game Emporium. But the whole point is that we can really diversify into the whole retro game thing. We can really kind of like I know like a lot of people could say, well, you can play an Atari collection. You have like it was an Atari anthology or something.
Hang on a moment. Good.
There's like
Yes, you
yeah,
may
I got a
pass.
Steam
Where do I
collection
find
of
the
it.
House of the Majors Guild?
Just follow
But
the trench in a southerly direction.
those are
the big house you can see there is the one you're
first
looking
party
for.
licensed those are like first party licensed Atari games. And there's actually Atari games that me and my friends grew up playing, the sort of those secondhand games I mentioned. And they're not available because they're owned by somebody else. Like say like Keystone Capers, that's the television. No, Activision. I'm sorry, Activision, I think. Yeah, it's Activision. Actually on PlayStation, and then here's the thing that's wild about the Kid Hank. It has arcade compilations
Yes,
from the
Lee told me
PlayStation
you were
2.
with the Satarifians.
All the
I'm
ones I
looking for
used to
Lester.
play.
Do you know where he is?
So technically, according to
Why
the
is that?
Antique Game Emporium, I could play those because the games on there are old enough. And although technically we don't need to do that. We have the direct ROM.
What happened?
There's only flaws with this is that only real flaws with this Kid Hank is that I have caught mistakes in it.
They're like,
And I'm not saying when you try to play a game it doesn't work. No.
But I better have a look to see what's
The
happened to
problem is like, for example,
that is
like
question.
Why
this
is
is a pretty glaring flaw, and this might be a
Open the
deal
barriers for
breaker
me
to
and
some
close them
people.
behind me. Where is the problem?
There aren't many majors
There's no
in
Sonic the
Terra
Hedgehog in
To erect
this.
the barrier, we need a
No,
strong
there's
Adano
there's
circus.
Sonic 2,
But we used up the
Spinball, all
last
those
focus
like
after
sequels.
your friend
The
Lester
original
went to the
game they've
mine.
screwed up.
If we tear down the barriers now,
And what it
we
is they
can't
put the
re-erect
listing
them.
in,
Our house
but they
would be in
forgot to
great
put
danger,
the
and with
ROM
it,
in.
the
And
last
they
refuge we
accidentally
have.
like
What about Cruella?
put
She wouldn't want us
like
to risk
say like
everybody's lives
whatever
just
game
to
that came
save
before that game, they put like a double ROM of the same game in. So when you click Sonic the Hedgehog, like you'll see the game right in the front. You'll see like the box and stuff. It's not there. It's because it's got a double of a ROM from another game that came before it. And that's really discouraging. And the only way to really go in and fix it is you gotta.
That's good.
I'm
How
not
do I get to the
even
mine?
kidding you.
Go back to the
I
gate
like a
through which
part
you
of me
entered
likes to
here,
think that
but just before you
there's
reach
no
it,
way
there's
it's
a
this
trench on the
complicated.
left
You gotta take
leading
the
westward.
SATA cable.
Follow it to the end,
You gotta
and then you'll
open your
stand in front of
PC
the
up.
entrance to the mine.
I don't want to do that.
It will help
And you
you
gotta open
fulfill
up. You gotta take it to the
your task.
motherboard, and you gotta connect it to the motherboard directly. And I'm like thinking to myself, I am not
How do I
taking
get to
this
the
little
palace?
pirate
Turn to the
station
left,
and connect it to my main computer in any sort of form. I mean, what is the freaking point of that? I mean, yeah, it would be. This does apparently have a slot for Nintendo Switch games, which I telling you guys, the way Nintendo's been lately, the last 20 years, they're a litigious bunch. I would not want to be playing a Nintendo Switch game on a Kid Hank. There is one Nintendo Switch game. I don't know why they add it. Maybe just to show that an example that you can put Nintendo Switch games on there. I mean, but understand, I do have a way now I can play Nintendo Switch. You know, if I wanted to do Nintendo Switch, I don't want to. I've become even more kind of down on Nintendo. I feel like you don't know who they go after as far as YouTube. Sometimes they just go after somebody. They just wipe out their channel. So there have been times I've been more liberal about doing Nintendo, but you can doing third party Nintendo is do third party games that were on Nintendo. That's okay. They don't seem to care about that. You know, like if you're playing like the NES version of Side Pocket. Don't ask me why. I like Side Pocket a lot. You know, so. Well, I don't know. That might be enough commentary for now. I'll think about it here in a moment.
About Sateringrad Production. Welcome to Sateringrad Productions. We specialize in spiritual books, comic books and old public domain books that have long been forgotten. We also have done artwork for war history books and fiction-based works. We recommend our Ethiopic Holy Bible Volume 1 that is quite popular and attempts to bring the Book of Enoch back into the Bible's list of books. The Ethiopic Holy Bible Volume 1 also has a few selections from Josephus, a Jewish historian, and also the book has Jubilee and the Apocrypha, which is also available in Catholic Bibles. Frater, S.H. is an esoteric researcher who is out to reveal ancient knowledge, both known and forbidden. Frater, S.H. has appeared on Joshua P. Warren's Speaking of Strange, Kevin Smith's show, UFO Show, and Ghost Chronicles International with Ron Clark and Richard Felix, the historian from Most Haunted on the Travel Channel.